So, in this episode, we'll be talking about Python for loops. And the reason I want us to talk about Python for loops is because the next little project or mini project we'll be doing will involve us using the for loop. And for most people, this is where confusion starts in their programming journey. They don't understand what a for loop is. And before we do any code, I want to describe what a for loop is to you. Imagine a class of 10 students, and a teacher comes to the front of the class and say, all 10 of you come to the front and line up, right? And then he said, one after the other, say your name. The first person says his name. My name is so. The next person says, my name is so. My name is so. So going through that list of students, they are performing a particular action, which is say your name. You can just go through a list of students and not ask them to say their name. You can just go through a list of students and not do anything. Just as the students are in front of the class, you can just look through all of them. You can see them, but they are not saying anything. And those are two concepts you have to understand. When you look through things, it's not necessary that in programming, it's not necessary that an action has to be taken. They can just be observed. Right. But in Python, when we loop, most times the items in that list are going to be used to do stuff. And that stuff is what we're doing today. So this question says, write a Python program to display all the numbers from 1 to 10. Each number should be printed on a new line. So let me re-explain this question. This question is asking us to arrange 5 students in front of the class, and each of them should say their name. Basically, that's what it's asking. And the students in this place are the first 10 numbers. So we are looping through the first 10 numbers, and we want each of them to say their name. How do we write this code? First of all, let's write a pseudocode. A pseudocode is when you use English to write code. So you're not writing the code, you're writing what you're going to do in English. So the first thing you want to do is to loop through 1 to 10 and then print each number you loop over, right? So that's how you loop through 1 to 10. In Python, the for is used to loop. For I in range 1 to 11. Range 1 to 11 is 10 numbers. You have range means the numbers between 1 to 11. And the numbers between 1 to 11 is 1 to 10. That's how Python sees it. Don't ask me why. It doesn't count. Python doesn't count the last number. It's the number before it, right? So when you say range 1 to 11, you're actually referring to numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, excluding 11. So for I in range, so what this I means, it means for items in this list of numbers. This I can be anything, as we'll see very soon. For each item in this list of numbers, what do you want to do to each of them? Print each item. Right. And why did we have to indent this and push it forward is because when you're using a for loop and you want to do something to each of the item, your command has to be inside the loop because you want to repeat one action several times. If you put this thing here, it will not work. Right? Okay. So if I print this, I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Why did it print 10 times and stopped? This is why. This has instructed the code to stop when it gets to 10, that range. So the first time this code runs once, I is 1. When it runs again, I is 2. So this line 8 and 9 keeps running 10 times as determined by this code. If I make this 13, this line 8 and 9 will run 12 times. And each time it runs, this will increase by 1. I will increase by 1. Do you understand? Now, if what we want to do is say something, so we can say print just give me a minute. So each time we loop through the list, we want each of the items on the list to say, I am a number. So we want number 1 to say 1 is a number. We want number 2 to say 2 is a number. So this is how you format your string and you run it. 1 is a number, 2 is a number, 3 is a number. So the code will run 13 times, and each time, each of them will say something. That's how loop works, right? And this is what determines the number of times. If you want this to run just 5 times instead of 13 times, you reduce this to 6. And then you run your code. 1 is a number, 2 is a number, 3 is a number, 4 is a number, 5 is a number. So this code will run the number of times whatever is in the bracket has asked it to run due to this range. That's the most important thing to know about loops. It's the most important thing. And the other thing you need to know is this I here, the items and the number can be given any name. It can be given number. But if you change it there, you have to change it here as well. You get the same answer. Anything can be written. You can write food. If each of the item you want them to be called food, of course you can call it food, and you run it and it works. So the only things that cannot be cannot be replaced with other words is the for, the in, and the range. This is a variable, is a name you're giving to each item in the list, just so you can call it when you want to print it. So it can be anything. So that'll be the first lesson introducing you to for loops.